Welcome back, everybody, to the Back Nine coverage of Round 1 of the 2019 Mid-America Open, presented to you by Discraft, the world leader in disc sports. I'm Brian Earhart, again joined by Nate Perkins. How's it going, Nate?
Dude, this course is beautiful, Brian.
Amazing. One of the most beautifully maintained and beautifully designed wooded courses that we get to see on tour. And we have a lot of really interesting play styles. We have Nikko, Andrew Presnell, Trevor Harbolt, and Jacob Sanders. A couple players are shooting some pretty hot rounds so far.
Yeah, Nikko and Andrew both solid front nines. Trevor struggled a little bit on the front, and Jacob made some nice putts to find himself back under par. And we've got a UDisc live leaderboard showing us some stats from around the course. Emerson Keith, 5 down through 14.
And it's refreshing to see, a lot of the top scores on this course coming in not in double digits. We see the good scores coming in 5 to 8 down, it looks like, through this stretch of the course. And hole number 10 is probably my favorite hole on this entire property. 996 feet. You have a double fairway. It shoots down into a funneled midsection of the fairway, and then we shoot down another tunnel with a couple different options way back into the tree line for just a beautiful par 5. We see a lot of rollers coming in on second shots. We get to see a lot of different types of strategies on this hole.
Yeah, it opens up a bit, but it's still pretty low ceiling and definitely low ceiling access into this green right here.
If you're coming to play here recreationally, just for maybe a destination type vacation for disc golf, this is one you'll want to take a video on.
Jacob going big forehand with that panic.
And that's more of a safe play. I mean, it's still, again, with how tough this hole is, that is a respectable play. You're going to see Nikko probably going a little bit more aggressive.
That looked a little too tight.
Still out there, but yeah, you saw what he was trying to do there. He was trying to go huge distance off the tee.
And Andrew's going drone again off of par 5.
Again, please do not buy a drone thinking it's going to fly like that. This one is beat to oblivion. They are very overstable. Andrew's is just a little bit special.
And he throws pretty hard.
Very hard. Oh,
but just look how much more this is like the prettiest shot of the round so far. Trevor Harbolt. I mean, he's 150 feet in front of that drone shot.
Yeah, that was huge. And I think that was a crank that he threw on that perfect hyzer flip. And that's what I like about this tee shot. It, lets the players get aggressive. It rewards them for being aggressive. And if you're a little farther back, you'll take something kind of like what Nikko was doing and trying to throw a roller down there.
Just a little early out of the hand from Jacob.
Very fortunate kick, though, off the trees. He does have an inside tunnel to the basket from there. Still pretty far.
Curious to see what Andrew's got lined up after laying that one up. And again, just a pretty conservative 350 hyzer.
Looks like his ice blue force, which is actually very stable. But yes, very conservative hyzer. He'll still have a nice approach to the basket.
Is Trevor going to have to go pure hyzer right here? He's going to hit that gap. He is going for the gap.
He was trying to do the same exact hyzer flip he threw off the tee there. That's actually good positioning for a birdie look.
Yeah, he's way up there in 2. I mean, he's got a
pretty routine putter hyzer to the basket.
Yeah.
And Nikko with a challenging, it looks like a diagonal backwards patent pending backhand.
Yeah, that's one of the tougher positions you can be for a right-hand backhand.
Yeah, just because you're having to fight your body's momentum. You're completely going against that. It takes a lot of core strength to be able to throw something like that.
It's so hard, not just to get the strength to power the disc, but the timing to get the release point down.
And the magic drone comes out again, I believe.
And he's played the hole to perfection.
Yeah.
I mean, he went mid-range off the tee, a conservative hyzer, and then a straight shot to the pin. Well done. That's what I love about woods golf. Just
lots of different types of plays on each hole, especially good wooded golf. Trevor wanted that eagle.
Yeah, that was for eagle.
Absolutely. Huge shot off the tee. That definitely helped him get up there.
Just in front.
Great birdie from Presnell. As you can see, multiple ways to birdie this hole. But I don't think anybody's going to be taking the same route that Andrew took. Drone force drone. Interesting.
Oh.
Chains were messing with him a little bit.
It kind of looked like he was about to rip the entire chain out of the basket. Oh, a little bit of frustration there from Jacob.
Bit of a lazy mark job there, but understandably so. Bogey in that hole is not the best feeling. Moving into hole number 11, and the amazing holes just don't stop. We have another par 4, flat ground, low ceiling, snaking through this beautiful section of woods. A lot of tinier trees to kind of shape the fairway. You're just going to want to pump something straight and far in this one. Maybe a subtle turn to the right, but as you can see, the basket's pretty straightforward off the tee.
And this one does play right alongside the river?
Yes, there is an OB River on the right side. So we might see some aggressive play, but I would assume since it is only 703 feet, you're going to see a lot of low ceiling bullets from these players. Oh, and he squares the little stump in the middle of the fairway. Still got down there a decent ways. There's that crank
was the
again.
Onyx from Andrew. Ooh, that's low.
Nikko looks like he has a destroyer in his hands. Not quite sure.
Yeah, that's going to be a destroyer, and previously I had said that it was the Spirit. We might see the Spirit busted out here in a little bit. He said he's got a gold Spirit during this round, but that definitely was a destroyer.
And I like this play a lot.
Ton of power on that forehand.
Mm-hmm. That's going to be in prime position to get up and down for a birdie. And again, the John Houck specialty is giving the players lots and lots of different options to play his hole however they want, but there's always risk-reward played into all of this. And if you play this course recreationally, again, like I was mentioning earlier, this course has 3 different tee pads per hole, and they're all beautifully designed.
Wow. Yeah, it looked like Nikko was going for the forehand roller up that skinny gap.
And I'm not sure if he cut rolled into the out of bounds as what we saw from the camera angle. But we will see. Andrew trying to go some sort of flip up to turn. Didn't quite get it. Oh, man.
Just laces it. Wow.
Okay, that was beautiful. That's about exactly how you're supposed to play the hole there. And he's caught some late cabbage a couple times on this hole, so he's going to have a long putt for his par save. It's interesting commentating on a mixed bag pro, especially someone like Nikko that's pretty much thrown every disc there is to throw. It's almost like you're guessing at this point. We probably need to interview him next time. Next time we play around with him, or we commentate around with him.
And the rare forehand from Andrew, and good angle, but just a little hot. And there's actually OB right behind the pin. This is, for Nikko's par, potentially a bogey if he, depending on if he was out of bounds on his previous shot or not. Such a passionate guy. You can just see it flowing out of him, how bummed he is about missing. I mean, that's a 50-footer that he had, and he's still he still believes that he's going to make it every single time.
And that is a solid birdie from Jacob. Huge sidearm off the tee, and then a gorgeous hyzer flip mid-range. That is a strong depiction of how the hole was supposed to be played. Andrew, after going out of bounds, cashes it in, but unfortunately, he's going to take a bogey. That OB is right behind the basket.
Yeah, that mid that Jacob threw on the approach was a drift. I'm a little unfamiliar with it, the MVP lineup.
They have a lot of fancy words for discs, and I do know their lineup flies amazing, but yeah, the drift sounds like it might be a new mold for them. Forgive me if I am entirely wrong.
So that is a bogey from Nikko, and Jacob picking up a couple sticks on everyone on the card.
And now we move into a par 3 that, as you can see, is a low ceiling laser beam tunnel shot off the tee to a mound green. We're going to see some players throwing some, again, laser beam hyzer flips, and I think that's kind of the name of the game on this course.
Yeah, this is an elite level shot right here. Throwing 360 dead straight with a ceiling like this is, I mean, that's as Jamie Thomas would say, the 4-digit separator hole.
Yep. Jacob, after throwing a forehand with a kind of a ninja release, I like the last minute flick of the wrist, and he's a little bit too short for a birdie look.
Andrew's style definitely allows him to get this distance at the height that you need. Just a little low. Looks like there's a little elevation right before you get to the pin. That first hill kind of stops you and leaves you at like 60 feet.
That's why it almost seems like it'd be worth throwing something faster to just get the disc to move. I think that's what Trevor just did.
Yeah, that looks great. That's pin high. Yeah, 20 feet. Well thrown.
Potential roller here?
There we go. I believe that's the
spirit.
Spirit. You see it, just like you said before, it's like a dinner plate, super flat. We're going to see just how overstable this is. And that's the classic Nikko Locastro line right there, guys.
If any of you have not thrown a Spirit, they are not supposed to fly like that. That is a fantastic flex shot from Nikko. Jacob goes a little bit long in his approach. Let's say about 28 feet.
From 40 feet for birdie 2. Oh, count
nice
it.
Putt.
Wow.
Drops it in. Perfect putt from Nikko. There's a sigh of relief.
It's a solid looking stroke that he has.
Yeah. And a respectable par in this hole. If you hit early, it's still a super scramble for a 3 on this one. And Trevor, after easily the best shot out of the card. Great, too. 364-foot low ceiling tunnel, and he smoked it.
Yeah, he threw an ESP Punisher on that one.
That's what it was. So it's I think a 12-speed disc, but it doesn't glide as much as most distance drivers from their lineup, so you can really control it like a fairway. Doesn't quite have the distance that the Force and the Zeus have, but definitely fills a niche role that a few Discraft pros are throwing. Hole number 13, par 4, beautiful beach on the left side, nice shot of the creek there. The real catalyst to this hole is that fallen branch. You want to position yourself specifically to either throw underneath or over the top of that tree. It really shapes the hole, and as you can see, it kind of cuts a little bit to the right, and that approach shot to the basket is really, really challenging. Righties are going to have to throw some sort of long bending shot to the right off the tee, or roller, as I've seen it in the past.
And again, we've got OB right behind the pin, right to the left of the pin, the entire length of the hole.
And it looks like Trevor is pulling out the big Z crank. That's going to sit down, and it does. Really, getting it in play is the first step, obviously. But if you really want a good birdie look, putting it as far as you can into that optimal landing zone is necessary. So that's why you're seeing Trevor pulling out the crank, and I believe Nikko has a distance driver as well.
Getting a full flight on that one. And he's going underneath. I mean, if that was a Mando, he would have made that.
I've played that hole a few times, and that's massive. That is a huge shot from Nikko.
Yeah, full flight with that destroyer.
That's like not even fair.
Yeah, what a beautiful shot.
And Jacob throwing a really clean, safe shot, middle of the fairway. But again, he's going to have to deal with that fallen branch and have to choose over or under.
Yeah, looks like Andrew didn't quite get this one turned over as much as he wanted.
Still a decent position for sure.
I wonder what he's going to have from
that's
there.
The thing.
Just that branch, that trunk rather, is at the perfect height.
Mm-hmm.
And
what you can do, he had the choice of either the low forehand or the high mid-range turnover.
Yeah, that high shot probably brings in a little bit more risk with that river off on your left.
Yeah, exactly. You could roll bounce off of a random tree and kick out of bounds. So I like the play from Trevor. And then Presnell does try to go for that over-the-top shot.
Man, that OB is close. That's like inside 15 feet of the bucket.
They are not making it easy on these players out here.
Oh, no, Nikko. Oh, and he just barely squeaks by that one, and he's got a circle's edge putt for birdie. This is such a visually appealing property, though, Brian. This is really enjoyable to watch.
Yeah, anytime you give one of the world's best designers full reign over a property, it's kind of off to the races at that point. And what you're left with here is just one of the most, like you said, visually appealing and challenging courses that we get to see all year.
Yeah, I've got a good feeling that we're going to be seeing this one for years to come.
Absolutely.
Hopefully on the Disc Golf Pro Tour next year. I've heard some rumors.
Because this is a test event, I believe.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, they had a stacked field. This is an 84-person MPO field this week, so...
And Nikko, after having the biggest drive that I've ever seen in the hole, unfortunately doesn't capitalize on the up and down. And this, the card here just showing you how tough the hole truly is. And that fallen branch, if that ever goes away, the scoring spread is going to completely change on this hole. Hole number 14 is a bit of a break for the players, 311 feet. There's a couple different routes you can take. If you have a sidearm, you're probably going to throw a wide sidearm that flares up to the basket. There is some random patches of sand, though, so you have to be very wary of where you're playing your skip from. Players that have no sidearm could throw a roller around the outside or a wide turnover with something. But as you can see, Nikko, even one of the best backhand players I've seen, is throwing a sidearm.
Oh, middle gap.
I like that.
Get a little skip. Oh, yeah, very soft skip. Maybe one of those sand patches that you were referring to.
Yeah, really soft dirt or sand or something where it's almost like Velcro once you hit it.
And Jacob has shown that he is very capable of throwing fast with this forehand.
And I like this inside route because if you do hit it, like we were talking about how soft the ground is, that's the route that you can actually pin next to the basket. If you go wide, you have to trust a flare shot. And like I was saying earlier, it looks like he's reaching for his Avenger SS to throw a roller.
Yeah, Andrew is one of those players that is almost entirely backhand.
And with that, you definitely have to be a bit more creative on certain tee shots and certain scramble opportunities. He's going to have about a 45, 50-footer at the basket.
Yeah, we've seen some players rise to the top with just the backhand. I'm thinking of Dave Felberg and James Conrad. But in this day and age, really, it just helps to have that forehand.
Oh, yeah. And actually, we see another different play from Trevor here. Not sure what disc that was. It actually might have flown like a glide. Hyzer flip up the middle gap, which I really like watching.
Yeah, you're correct, Brian.
That was a glide, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
you're challenging old Yuli for the Discraft team manager.
Yeah.
You know what you're talking about.
Shout out to the Paul Uliberry. And that's just one of those mistakes you never want to make. Hit the tree right in front of you, still leave yourself a comeback. Ugh.
It hurts.
Clear visual frustration from Trevor. Rightfully so.
Yeah, good putt from Andrew. It looked like he had that little branch like right in his eyesight.
In his face.
Yeah.
And little things like that can mess with your putt more than you think.
Yeah. And this is definitely messing with Nikko's putt right here. He likes to bring it down low. And,
Something was bugging him there. I'm not sure if it was a bush or...
I think he was actually out of bounds right there, unless we missed a shot. Because he did tap in a par right there.
I think he did skip off the top of the basket. And,
okay, just
yeah.
completely missed a shot. Sorry about that, guys.
And Trevor clearly frustrated after a 3-putt hitting that tree. Moving into hole number 15, par 4, 574 feet. Not the longest par 4 on the course, but the second shot shoots straight up this beautiful hill to a really scenic green. Players can go up the gut as far as they can. They can throw rollers. There's a sky hyzer route to the right side. Again, another John Houck specialty hole. Lots and lots of different ways for the players to achieve the optimal landing zone off the tee. Gorgeous staircase, and the basket is sneaking up into the left here. Nikko going Wraith, you think?
Yeah, that's that same destroyer, actually. Unless he's rolling this one, then that probably is that flippy Wraith that we've seen him roll.
Oh, yeah, he wants to lay that down.
That's the Wraith. Look at that angle.
And that is such a high-level roller angle to hit.
He was definitely one of the early ones pushing the limits on the roller, and he's still in my book one of the best rollers all time. He's way up there.
That's
dude.
nuts. You do not get up that hill on that first shot.
Stairs.
That is so aggressive, and that's kind of been his career as being aggressive. He's amazing with those types of shots. Jacob dips a little bit on that sidearm and skies it. He's going to have probably a wide open shot to the base of the hill.
It looks like Andrew's lining up something high. Is there a little gap up there? Oh, there sure is.
Yes, there is a stall hyzer or kind of a power hyzer with something medium stability. I think he took a force out there, and that's totally fine. I'm not sure if you're going to have too much of a birdie look, but I think he'll have an uphill hyzer at the basket.
The course has just been really on top of Trevor today. I mean, he's 4 over par moving into the final 4 holes of this round. Definitely looking to score here. This is a crank. It just shows you how far Nikko's roller actually was.
Yeah, good air shots are getting into the middle of the fairway or close to the base of the hill, and Nikko's is up the slope.
Wow, look at that release. That is sick from Jacob.
Good. That's such a good hyzer flip. And the thing I like about his throw is you can tell the angle he's throwing. His body doesn't, he doesn't make himself guess when he's throwing those angles. It's really, really nice to see.
Yeah, I totally know what you mean.
It's almost like he's programming the angle from the get-go.
Yeah. That's what's so sweet about disc golf, man. Everyone's different.
Well, it's interesting now, too, especially with younger kids getting into the game. They actually have players to study now.
Yeah.
Back then, when I was coming up in the game, there were barely any videos out there. So you kind of learned your own style. And But now we go overseas and see all the young kids in Finland. They're all throwing the same,
Oh, my gosh. No doubt, dude. That was eye-opening.
Because of players like Nikko, who had toured for so long and had gone out and done clinics and shown people how to throw.
And Nikko just playing this hole to perfection.
And Presnell does have a look for a birdie here.
He's opting for the toss-in. It's got a chance. Oh, just low. From that angle, it looked like it was on
I thought he was going to go for it. And a par is respectable for sure on this hole. There's, especially with the pin position, I think changing from where it usually is at. I think it's more straight up the hill, and now we have a hyzer up the hill. where if you're not in good position, attacking this basket is not feasible. So that birdie from Nikko is disgusting.
Yeah, hole 15 played a full half stroke over par. Moving into hole 16, this is only the second hole during round 1 that actually played under par, played a quarter stroke under par at 231 feet, pretty much dead straight here.
Yeah, slight slope to the left. I think you'll see some players opting for a forehand just to fight that left sloping fairway. But again, like you said, pretty straightforward.
Kind of throwing these players a bone here at the final 3 holes.
And Nikko going with a flex sidearm, I believe.
I like that little follow through that he had.
Yeah, that was great.
Held it up for a minute.
Yeah.
Beautiful shot.
And yeah, as you can see, the opportunity for sidearm is presenting itself, and the players that have them are taking them. So I think if you are throwing a backhand with this basket being slightly left, it's going to be a slightly flippier disc that the players are going to throw backhand, or they're going to go left side.
Yeah, that left side does leave room for a slight anhyzer.
And if you have that shot, I love the play on the ground too. Andrew landed that one really softly. Some sort of medium stability putter.
Yeah, it's the focus, jawbreaker focus.
Yeah, it's a beaded putter from Discraft. That's going to...
Trevor's going a little bit faster. He went with the glow buzz.
And he'll have a bit of maybe a mini death putt. Nice
yeah. Spin it back, please. Look at that. And he was outside of circle 1.
And from a straddle angle, to do the straddle stepper with 1 foot, that takes a little bit of coordination.
Yeah.
It's a great putt.
Just look at that rising putt. I can't get over it. And it's right on the pole.
Very, very unique.
We could be looking at our first star frame of the round.
Oh, no.
Oh, and I said it too soon. A little quick on that putt,
A little bit quick. He's been hitting a lot of really long circled 2-putts this round, but potentially just getting a little bit too far ahead of himself. Taking these putts for granted.
He's definitely a younger player.
He's younger, but has been playing for a decent amount of time.
Yeah?
Yeah, he has been playing for a decent amount of time.
Just got a few things to work out, and he's going to be competing.
Oh, definitely. And that's the thing with winning at the top level of this sport. It's not all the flashy stuff that, like, the rollers that people are saying and whatnot that Nikko's throwing on the last hole. It's doing all of the simple stuff correctly every single time. Hitting the 20-footers, getting up and down from 250 feet. Once he figures that out, he'll be right up there with everybody else. And has been at multiple tournaments this year. Hole number 17 is very, very challenging tee shot. 526 feet, so seemingly short for a par 4, but one of the most technical shots on the course. You'll see even the most technical players like Nikko is still figuring out what the heck he's going to do here. And I think he has that roller wraith in his hand. It's uphill, it flexes to the right, and then you have to immediately flex back to the left. Super challenging. And you don't have a lot of room to flex either. You have to throw something very, very stubborn where there's not a lot of movement left to right.
Yeah, the thing about a tee shot like this is while there is a prescribed line, as you're saying, there's a few different ways you can actually make it happen.
Lots of different ways. And yeah, Presnell went with the putter and just put it right out in the middle of the fairway.
And then you see Trevor's actually going with a max distance driver. He's throwing a 13-speed crank here. Look at this late flip.
Okay. And he got some tree love there. Snuck through a little bit on the right side, but take what you can get out here, especially on this hole. And I've played this hole many times, and I still don't know what the optimal shot shape is.
Maybe a little flex forehand from you?
From a lefty, I think that's a decent play. But again, that tree line on the right side is so tight that you don't have too much room.
And Jacob was in absolute jail over there on the left. That looked tight.
Yeah, super tight.
He throws forehand roller, and he still has 250 left to go to this pin.
And Andrew, after probably the best shot in the card, still doesn't have the friendliest approach to the basket. He's going to go straight with that focus. Great tree kicks there. Pretty much peered the line. He's about 20 feet from the basket.
Nikko lining up another roller. Oh, and just before it gets down, gets redirected.
And he'll be getting up and down for a 4. I actually like the roller play here if you can lay it down. It's really challenging to do. But if you can hit that hill and just sneak through a couple trees, since the disc is vertical, it's definitely going to make the profile easier to miss trees with.
Oh, and he loved it. Was that heading straight for the pin, Brian?
I think it was, and unfortunately it was clipped out, but we'll see where he landed. Hopefully he did hit something because he had some heat on it.
I want to replay that one back and look at his little wrist follow through.
And a little replay on Presnell's approach to the basket there. A little nose-up stall putter shot from Nikko.
Yeah, that's a good shot to hit that small gap like that.
Oh, yeah.
And here we go, the third overhand putter shot from Trevor of the round.
Put himself to circle two. He definitely has a putt.
Okay, so it looks like he did hit before he made it through that gap, unfortunately, but he's got circle 1 putt for his par. Oh,
nice.
Wow, Trevor. And that's a birdie from the right side.
Another putter.
Yeah, putter tomahawk.
Putter tomahawk to circle 2 putt. True combo.
Kind of shows you how important it is just to cover ground on this hole, just to get some distance.
Exactly. And we're seeing some missed putts here from Presnell and Sanders. Nikko hoping to make the adjustment here. And that's a decent par. Really, on this hole, if you're out of position, it's... I wouldn't say crapshoot, but you have to get creative on that second shot, really regardless of where you land. And I think that definitely justifies Nikko trying to just throw a roller and get lucky down the hill. Double bogey from Sanders. Presnell, after throwing a really clean tee shot, takes a par there, and I would not be ashamed of that. Nate Perkins, hole number 18 of Harmony Bends is one of the most beautiful finishing holes I've ever seen. 870 feet, par 5, and I'm not sure if they're playing the rule here. There is a section of this landing zone that was bricked off by, I think it was John Hauk that bricked it off, and if you land in it, it should be right around here. If you land in this tiny bricked off area on the landing zone, John Hauk decided that it was not rewarding enough and gives you relief on either side of that spot.
Wow, that's rare.
Studying the landing zone to the point where he really, really, truly wants the player to be rewarded for making the first shot. And this first landing zone is no joke. There are multiple ways to get to the basket after that, but this shot is so scenic.
And anytime you have this much OB in the woods on a par 5, you're going to have some numbers. And this hole plays nearly a full stroke over par.
There's so many different ways to play this hole. There are, I think, 2 or 3 different fairways to get to the basket with after your first shot. But the first task is to just get down there. And that's got to get back left. And it did. I think he is in a decent position to play up the fairway. Couldn't quite tell from that camera angle.
And there's that same drone that we've seen.
And that's got to get up a little bit. Oh, catches one of the last trees in that fairway.
That one a little late from Jacob.
I think he ended up okay. There is an OB creek on that left side. Oh no. And as you can see, Jacob is pretty quick player.
Yeah, and he just double bogeyed the last hole. I mean, he's been struggling. He's been on and off. He's hit some big ones, but now he's over par, and he definitely knows it. And that can cause you to kind of...
Oh, no.
Just a horrible reaction to find the OB on the left side.
A little bit too low. He was trying to get aggressive and cut the corner there.
We need a word for disc golf tilt. You know, when you're
Yeah.
playing poker and you go on tilt.
This would be it right here.
Yeah,
This
now
would be the situation
Nico
to use
is
it.
now on tilt, moving into his final few shots. But that,
As you can see,
it just is brutal, Brian. That OB is just a suck zone.
and that's the thing with throwing a backhand on this shot. If you kick any tree with that clockwise spin,
And that's going OB. Okay, now all 4 players have now found the OB left on this hole 18.
yeah, it is so
Wow.
punishing and so scenic, and it is a crazy way to cap off this course.
And now these players have no choice but to cross this OB creek to approach the pin.
It never ends. It snakes through the entire hole. There's multiple landing zones.
It's kind of like an enlarged hole 17 at Idlewild.
Yes.
Like a little...
Yes. And what's crazy about this hole, I've seen a 3 on it.
Okay.
It's
possible.
And that's why I think it's such a good hole. Is it's an eagle's possible, birdie's possible, and then 5 and above is extremely possible, especially if you're not pinpoint with your shots.
Yeah, Nico's kick was just so brutal. I mean, he was definitely looking to cross onto the green with that destroyer approach, and
Yeah.
such a brutal kick left. And Andrew's left with a little window.
And that zone is going to be about 20 feet to the left.
You know, this is just so different for all the spectators, everyone tuning in here. I mean, this is the lead card, or the feature card you'd call it. This is round 1, but these scores, we are just not used to seeing numbers like these.
Yeah.
I mean, we're used to seeing, as you said, double-digit rounds from these players.
But, you know, a round like Nico's, I believe this is going to keep him at 6 under par. That's a solid round out here, especially with the pin positions that they're, putting these baskets at. A couple of double bogeys on this finishing hole, and, a single bogey for Trevor. A par on this hole 18 is extremely impressive, and
That hurts from Andrew, though. I
Yeah.
mean, he was 4 down going into that hole, and that's going to bump him off the lead card. 2 down for the round. Trevor and Jacob both finding struggles there, but Nico with the 6 down.
yeah, that was clean, and he hit a couple of clutch putts and threw a couple of absolutely flawless tee shots to put him in good positioning.
And we'll see here where we're at. Nico is actually tied for the lead with Emerson Keith, Alex Russell just a stroke behind, and Joel Freeman 4 down.
And then we have Gavin Rathbun from Illinois, Jake Lauber from Iowa, Dan Schlitter also from Illinois, and Ron Converse.
All right, Oklahoma.
Thank you so much again for joining us for that back nine coverage. Make sure to subscribe to GK Pro, and we will catch you for round number 2.